Are we really going to avoid the whole Kirby Smart calling a timeout, not calling a timeout controversy? What do we think about this, Georgia guys? I just want to know.
That's not a controversy. I think as time has passed. Shock, I'm sure you'd agree with me as the Georgia guy, but I mean, they were clapping. You should. It's either you call a penalty on them or.
All I can say is when I talked to Kirby after the game, he said there's no reason for me to call a timeout. They were clapping. I'm just trying to make sure. But here's the troll from Auburn. Auburn played the video 7 times on the big board, and I'm just gonna say it looked questionable. I'll say that because I've seen timeouts called before. I've seen the version of clap going. All I can do is go off what my man Kirby says, but it was pretty close to looking like a timeout. I'm not gonna lie.
So to me, it's not even whether he's definitely called timeout, but you can even hear it. There's one audio I listened to during the game. I think it was caught on the ref mic or something, where he goes, "You're making me waste a timeout." They're clapping. So I think in the officials' head, it was like, shit. We should have called a penalty on Auburn, so we're not going to charge Kirby the timeout. And I think Kirby, in order to sell it, just said, well, no, I didn't actually call a timeout. But you actually can hear him on one. There's one replay I saw on Twitter where he goes, you're making me, I'm wasting a timeout. So he was calling timeout to point out, hey, they're clapping. I think the initial TV thought was like, Kirby was calling timeout, but then he tried to sell it like he was clapping. It's like, no. He was telling the refs, I told you before the game, they're clapping. That's a flag. And I think in the ref's eyes, it was like, well, we messed up, so we're just not going to charge you a timeout because that was on us, right?
Because like for me, like Kirby, it was very simple. Kirby's number one job is to, always support and vouch and be that guy that's leading the charge for Georgia. Yes, of course, you want to try to stretch things as far as you can. So even if the worst of it is true, and he was trying to call a timeout and then he bullcrapped it, you should do that. The real problem here, Shock, is that SEC officiating, I can't remember the last time it was this bad across the board. The officiating is just abhorrent. And now that this is big business and big business only, there's too much money involved for them to not have any accountability by even talking to the media, in the post game, putting a mic in their face, let alone fines or making them, professional referees. Because, man, like, the officiating is the question. Not Kirby's doing what every coach would do for his team, regardless if it was he was calling a timeout and bull crapping to the ref or not. That's the least concerning to me than it's just another extension of SEC officiating just shit in the bed, quite frankly.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. There were a couple scenarios I was in the ball game that on both sides, to be honest, on the Auburn side and Georgia side, they were just missed or bad calls. I mean, the amount of reviews made the game so long, and there were situations where it just felt like they had no idea what was going on. Like, I mean, the fumble on the goal line, they had no idea where the ball was, what was going on, and you're like, okay, what do we do now? And there were just situations in the game where you're like, man, this has to be better because it's ruining what this game could be. And as players, you always say don't let the game come down to the refs. Well, that game had a lot to do with the refs on a number of situations.
No doubt.
And Jackson Arnold crossed. That's the last I'm going to say. He crossed.
Listen, that's my thing is like, how do you screw Auburn and Georgia over on the same play, man? You don't give Auburn the touchdown. Well, if it's a fumble, then you got to give Georgia the touchdown on the other end. It was just remarkable how bad of a show that was from them. I don't know if he crossed because if you look at the frame by frame, the ball's moving. But I do believe there was a targeting on Georgia that wasn't called. I believe Gunnar Stockton was actually targeted once that wasn't called either. There were so many little moments that I was like, what in the hell are you guys doing? And that guy, I forget his name, but that crew has been notoriously bad. And
Ken Williamson,
thank you. Ken Williamson is his name. And it's incredible to me, like Ben's saying, look, I don't even give a shit about having to answer questions because they're going to find a way to spin it. You need to pay the school that was affected as a conference. Give them money. Give them something, bro. Like, you can't just get away with it and be like, sorry, or here's a statement. We've done this. We've done this song and dance on this podcast before, and it sucks that we have to keep on doing it week after week. For some reason, it's always Auburn.
They ain't gonna care about the money. They ain't gonna care about the money. They want the wins and losses. These schools got plenty of money. They ain't worried about that. I understand keeping them accountable for something, but at the end of the day, if you lose the game because of it, money ain't gonna make that better.
Well, something for the NIL fund and a suspension would be great.
All I know is
I
that they
got
have
you.
no problem charging $500,000 if fans get excited and storm the field. The least you could do is put a microphone in front of a rest face in the post game at bare friggin' minimum here.
Yeah,
I got
no
you.
doubt.